So now is the time when we learn how to make a custom brush in Photoshop. I have a lot of students that are locked into Procreate because they're used to the brush presets that Procreate has. The thing is, brushes in a raster program are no big mystery. So the only way to really understand how they work and how you can fully utilize them is to make one for yourself. So what you're going to do is in Photoshop, no matter where you are on the project, save your progress. So mine's called Karl Assignment 7 Viola Horse. I've saved it. Now I'm going to say File New. And I'm going to call this Karl Custom Brush. And I'm going to put SP26 Morn, just because I do this for a lot of different classes, right? File New, name it your name, so Lisa Custom Brush. And then, for the first time ever this semester, we are not going to measure the file in inches, because this is not for printing, this is not for a physical product. This is a virtual tool, so we're going to measure it in pixels, and we're going to design our brush on a canvas that is 1,000 by 1,000 pixels. So 1,000 pixels square. Doesn't matter what the resolution is because it's going to be 1,000 by 1,000 pixels. How big should your brush be? 1,000 by 1,000. That's important because if your brush is over 3,000 pixels, it won't save as a brush, right? And if it's too big, it just doesn't work very efficiently as a brush. So 1,000 is the sweet spot. 1,000 by 1,000. Then we say create. So 1,000 by 1,000 pixels, you'll see that here. In 350 ppi, that's 2.8 inches by 2.8 inches. But all that matters is it's 1,000 by 1,000 pixels. If you're unsure, you can go to image size and you can check what the pixel count is. All right, now we're going to use the defaults. I've told you don't paint with pure black, don't paint with pure white, except when you're designing a brush. Because Photoshop is bitmap, right? It's binary. So we have to use pure black pixels and pure white pixels. So click on the defaults, which are right above your foreground and background squares. That is going to be your brush. Then go to your brush. We're going to use the same brush with one exception. We're going to change it. It's going to be hard round pressure size. We're going to change it to be 100% hard, 100% opaque, 100% flow, and the size, make it about 100. So everything's 100. 1,000 by 1,000 pixels. Edson, you can do this. We're designing the brush right now. New file, 1,000 by 1,000 pixels. Set your hard round pressure brush to be 100 pixels large. Hardness of 100%, opacity 100%, flow 100%. Okay, now I'm going to do something you don't need to do, which is make a new layer, choose a lighter color to show you what this brush is, right? This is what a brush is. It's a stick of wood, a collar of metal, and then little hairs, right? What matters is the shape of the brush. So if I have a stamp pad here filled with black ink, or we'll make it red ink, and if I were to push this brush into the stamp pad, what happens to the tip of that brush? Does it stay the same? No. What happens to the tip of the brush when I push it into the stamp pad? It's going to warp. It's going to push back, right? The bristles are going to push up against that surface. So when I do that, it's also going to add paint to the tip of the brush. So that now when I use the brush and I put it on paper, kind of animating in real time here. When I put it on a piece of paper, it's going to leave a little fingerprint like that. Does that make sense? So that is what I mean by a brush tip design, and that is what we're designing. We're designing the fingerprint we want our brush to leave if we were to press it up against a stamp pad and then take its fingerprint straight down onto a piece of paper. That is how brush designs work. So Stamp pad to paper. Stamp pad to paper. So what does that actually look like? It will look like a shape that is the shape of the brush. So you have 3 shape options as you design. You can design what's called a round brush, right? A round brush looks like, I'll do it from the top, like this. Collar. And no matter how you turn the brush, it's always this profile, and it narrows to a tip, right? Or you can do a flat brush. Flat brush you would design like this to fill a rectangle-ish shape, because that brush has a brush head like this from the side or from the front, and from the side it's narrower, right? Or you can do my favorite, which I think is the most versatile for digital painting, and it is a filbert brush. Raise your hand if you've ever painted with a filbert brush. All right, we got some hands. Filbert brush is a combination of the round. So this is what it looks like from the side. It's kind of chiseled, or the flat. And then from the side, it would be narrower, like that. So what does that look like as a fingerprint? It's going to be kind of an oval like this. We do it at an angle so that you can maximize the use of the 1000 pixel square. So you don't need any of these extra layers. What we need is black on white, and I am going to design, I'll give you kind of the guideline here, a fingerprint for my brush that fills roughly this shape. So that's my guideline. With my black on white, 100%, 100%, I decide if I want it to be short and choppy, like this, or if I want it to be more long-haired, and that's going to give you smoother brush strokes, like watercolor. So this is what sable is like. This is what bristle brushes are like. And you can do a combination of both. I'm going to leave it so it's, a pretty open print for mine. You can really make it dense, but I think that's going to be a good brush design for me. Notice how it's not outlined, right? That would be a mistake, because you want the openness of the hairs to help blend the edges of your paint. And it's not going to be perfectly an oval because the little hairs get bent out of shape, right? And you can paint with pure white as well if you made it a little too filled in and you want to open it up. Okay, so if this is my brush design now, what I do is I say edit, define brush preset. And as long as you did 1000 by 1000 pixels, when I say edit, define brush preset, everyone should have a custom brush to meet all the requirements, right? Then it's going to be named after my file name. And then I say OK. And the larger size of this is 931, or that's the default size, because that's what these pixels are. Okay, now I can play with it. I go back to my painting, and on my custom brush layer, I am going to just stamp my stylus to my tab, and I get that brush, right? I can choose a different color, stamp it, get that brush. But if I actually paint with it, no bueno. Does not look like a real brush, right? And that's because there are 2 aspects to brushes in any raster program. This is what's called the brush profile. It's like the fingerprint of the brush. It even looks a little bit like a fingerprint. Then there are what are called the brush settings. So if you go under Window and go to Brush Settings, it's near the top, you'll see that right here in this sidebar, it's been there the whole time, you have brush settings. They are vitally important. So the first brush setting you're going to use is shape dynamics. It's the most important. It's what allows you to make your brush pressure sensitive. So we do that by going to Control and saying pen pressure. Now all of a sudden my brush will go thick to thin based on pressure. So if I try painting now, pretty different. But that's just one setting. Let me show you the others. So pen pressure. Size jitter. When you use a real brush, you're not always, even if you're trying to use really consistent pressure, the paint's going to flow in different amounts. So by doing a jitter to the size, you can see it, imitate it there, then it's going to be a little bit less even than if you have no size jitter. And then it's going to look a little bit fake and digital. So give yourself some size jitter. Next, my favorite, angle jitter. Right now, it fills up really quickly because it's always locked at the same angle, the angle I designed it. If I angle jitter it, then it's going to do different angles as I paint. And then it will always feel more believable. But even then, doesn't it look like a real brush only at the edges? I want it to look like a real brush all the way through, like dry brushing. So, roundness jitter compresses your brush towards the core, which is exactly how brushes work. So most of the ink goes to the inside bristles, and it gets drier at the outside. So that helps. And it makes your brush, especially if you're doing a filbert design, a little bit more directional. Now, the other setting I use, you can go ahead to remember that, because you'll need it. Do a screen grab of it. Those are your shape dynamics. Command-Shift forward, do a targeted screen grab. The next one you want is texture. It's just like setting layer styles. Texture is going to open up the inside of your brush. So we go to the built-in textures. We're going to use water. I like to use the lightest water. And then I'm going to take the depth way down, right? You need some of it, but I'm going to take the depth to maybe like 25%, 20%. So you can start to see like openness. I'm going to go 18% in the middle there. There we go. Now we've got a good brush. So when I use different colors, those colors will show through, especially with different opacities, and their edges will blend together. Does that make sense? So I'm going to take a screen grab of the texture. Now, smoothing is on by default. I would just leave it on. Doesn't matter. Right. You can play with more of them, but these are the most important. Shape dynamics and texture. Just like using any kind of tool in Photoshop, you want it to be controllable and predictable. So now we're on our custom brush layer. And now the goal is to cover everything on our painting, but now with this custom brush. So I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. I don't need it to be 900 pixels. I'm going to make it more like 200. And I'm going to steal colors, but I'm not going to do it at 100% anymore. I'm going to do it at 70% opacity. This way, when I pick a color and I start painting, you see how it will give me a very different surface. So the surface before looks very digital, very basic. Now it can start to get a lot more interesting with my custom brush. And I want you to stay at keeping the whole thing on the screen. I'm just zooming in to show you. And now I can start actually painting it with these crazy colors. And I have my sketch kind of showing underneath and my base color showing underneath. I want to completely fill that up, cover it up. Remember, painting is painting on top of a sketched line or no sketched line. It's not underneath it, right? So it needs to fully overtake it. And I'm painting with a smaller brush, more strokes, and it's going to take a little while. This is the pain, as some past students have put it, of digital painting. I can steal colors from any of my inspirations, especially if I feel like the color is getting muddy. It's nice to get them from kind of fresh sources. But now my color being only at 70% is going to blend with all the colors behind. So I can start stealing colors from myself as well. And you just want to have fun with it. I know I do a lot